everybody go subscribe to Bull Light. You know what I'm saying?
4, they got Bull Light.
Let me ask you a question, Bush.
Yeah, you already know, man. Let's go Knicks. It's your boy Bush back with another one. Another one and another one. Man, I must say, this internet clout, these YouTube streets, it's taking these dudes down one by one, man. Wack 100's latest torpedo, J Hood, had a cool reputation when he was doing his little vlogs from prison. Nobody knew all about all these skeletons that's coming out all of a sudden. And he had a positive rep. But now that boy's under fire on the cutting board and everybody going at him. It's a bunch of allegations coming out, a bunch of different stuff. You know, he turned his back on his pops. We'll get into that for the same reason. But there's some similarities to him and Loose Cannon. With the boy Loose Cannon, I thought this dude J Hood was a little bit smarter, but Loose Cannon had an issue with his dad too. He cut his dad off for Wack too, and it's crazy because they know all these allegations with Wack being a rat, but you gonna cut your pops off for what you know what I mean. But you and keep whacking your life. That's kind of bugged out to me. You know, these dudes is gangsters. They pops a rat and they supposed to cut them off. But you know what they say? They say the rats running the family. But remember when Loose was speaking on his pops? Let's take a little bit of that, little history lesson on that before we get into the other shit, the other stuff.
Answer this question for Scandalous TV. He said, Rosé said my daddy's a rat, right? I seen my daddy 3 times my whole life. And it was in San Quentin prison, right? If Cuz is a rat and there's paperwork on Cuz is a rat and all Cuz. Dead homies.
I'm back with another video. This one gonna hit different as it encompasses the story of Tremaine Ashley Williams.
Boy was a killer rat too. They said he killed a couple people. Salute to this platform. I think I react to a couple of his videos. 504 Street Chronicles. Yeah, man. Killer rat. I watch those ones.
Age of fake Loose Cannon's father. In one of my most recent videos, we covered the fake Loose Cannon and the alleged snitching activity of his pops. However, in this video, we will cover Big Nutty's entire story. Sit back, buckle up. This is going to be a long one. George Brett Williams, adopted as a baby by Charles and Jessie Mae Williams, founders of the Williams Home for Children with Special Needs, was pretty much raised as a Silver Spoon kid. Raised in the couple's Acton Park mansion, George attended private schools. Wanting to fit in with the crowd at the age of 16, the young...
Similar to J Hood, whose pops had money, whose pops was a gangster, but he had money. And Wack seems to be attracted to these kids of, you know, that come from something.
George dropped out of school and began hanging out with gang members. Ultimately, George would leave his parents' home when he was only 18 years of age, moving into a nearby rental property owned by his mother, whom was also a real estate agent. The burly 6'3" tall George Williams quickly ascended the ranks of the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, one of LA's largest gangs.
Police say the drugs and violence are being spread to other cities, chiefly by 2 long-standing rivals in the Los Angeles youth gang scene. Black groups who call themselves Crips and wear blue colors, and Bloods who wear red.
It wouldn't be long before George would become well known as Big Nutty. To other members, Nutty was not at all a classic gang member. He was extremely articulate, intelligent, and a very manipulative young man, which may explain why he was able to rise in the hierarchy of the 60s so quickly. Nutty.
Well, none of that trickled down to Loose Cannon or his twin brother. None of that quick talking intelligence, I ain't gonna lie.
He made bread and earned respect on the streets as a drug and gun dealer who drove a flashy black BMW. Known around town as a high roller, Josh oftentimes stayed in Las Vegas hotels for free. Over the years, it was alleged that Nutty assaulted several people, supplied the guns used in the 1983 murders of a mother and her 16-year-old son, beat a woman and father, and shot at a police officer who was taking a burglary report. It's a dirty world, but it still spins. Nutty
Boy was a gangster. He had a record. He had a record for doing a lot of gangsterous things.
Who initially denied any involvement in the crimes, offered to testify against his homies. During trial, several witnesses came forward to report that Nutty had offered them money to testify on his behalf. Other witnesses would testify that they had been threatened. After the jury returned its verdict, Nutty's wife Monique received permission from the judge to give her husband a new pair of shoes. This, however, was an attempt at smuggling drugs into the prison. Nutty's wife was quickly arrested after the bailiff found that the soles were lined with several balloons of heroin. It is these turn of events that brings us to our story. On January the 2nd of 1990, Willie Thomas and Jack Barron were fatally shot at close range in a house on Spring Street in Los Angeles. Their bodies were dragged to a truck parked in the garage, where they were found when the police arrived in response to a neighbor's call reporting gunshots. The prosecution's theory was that Nutty shot both victims in the course of a robbery that had begun as a drug transaction. According to prosecution witnesses, earlier that evening, Nutty had planned to scam the victims through a fraudulent drug transaction by trading fake money for drugs. The victims met Nutty at the bar parking lot.
So yeah, that's then Tukey Williams get caught up with something like that, and they executed him. So this is probably why Nutty ratted. He had to get out of. He didn't want to get executed. Let's get into it though.
But for reasons unknown, the transaction did not occur there. Instead, later that evening, the victims came to the Spring Street home, which was a freaking hangout for Nutty and his three homies. According to the testimony of his three homies, all of whom had pleaded guilty in prior proceedings, Nutty shot both victims. Additionally, two neighbors to the Spring Street home testified that Nutty was present at the house on the night of the killings. The prosecution presented evidence that the pager found at the scene of the crime was Nutty's, and that his fingerprints were found in the room where the victims had been shot and on the truck to which the victim's body had been dragged. The prosecution also presented evidence that Nutty fled Los Angeles after the shooting, and that upon his return 2 weeks later, he sought to pay some new acquaintances to fabricate an alibi for him for the night of the murders. Prosecution presented evidence of the murders and the drug deal surrounding it largely through the testimony of two of Nutty's accomplices, Patrick Linton and Darius Surprise.
So it sounds like a case of 6ix9ine. Like, they ratted on me, I'm gonna rat on them.
Their testimony was corroborated by the testimony of other witnesses, telephone records, and physical evidence. It's no secret that Nutty socialized with Patrick, Darius, and Dino Lee. This group often gathered at the house on Spring Street, where Darius' half-brother, Ernie Pierre, lived. On the upstairs floor of the house was a vacant small apartment, where victims Willie Thomas and Jack Barron were shot on January the 2nd of 1990. Darius and his mother, Marcella Pierre, lived in the house across the street. In the week prior to the killing, Nutty mentioned to Patrick that he intended to jack the plug by giving him fake money. On the day of the murders, Nutty was socializing with Patrick and Darius at the Spring Street home. It was then that Nutty told Patrick he was going to set up a drug deal with victims Jack Barron and Willie Thomas. Telephone records indicated that on the day of the murders, 3 calls were made between Nutty's house and an air-conditioned business called ARA. Both victims, Barron and Thomas, worked at ARA. Fellow ARA employee Londell Richardson testified that on the day of the murders, he overheard a telephone conversation by Thomas and Barron, indicating that after work, they were planning to go to a bar to transact a drug deal involving 50 racks and 3 or 4 keys of coke. In preparation for the drug transaction, Nutty, Patrick, and Darius went to Nutty's house, where Nutty assembled packages of torn phone book pages, which he wrapped to resemble bundles of cash, placing them in a plastic bag. Nutty
finessing. Damn. Not even straight business. He was finessing from the jump. But hey, they gang members. What you expect? You know, it's crazy. You know, Tukey got charged with something similar to this during a robbery, killed 2 people. People was still praising Tukey until the day he died. Now, if Nutty ain't go ahead and talk or rap, will he be as infamous as Tukey Williams? Will he go down? He would have went down as one of them legends, possibly. But he messed that up. And it's sad, though, you kill somebody and then you get to go down as a legend. But that's the gang-banging lifestyle.
He also bought 3 guns, which were later found at the scene of the crime: a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver, a .38 caliber Titan automatic pistol, and a carbine rifle. Patrick drove Nutty and Darius in his blue Chevy Blazer to the parking lot of the bar. After they parked, Nutty hopped out of the truck and went over to Barron, whose truck was parked in the back of the lot. As Thomas stood next to the truck, Nutty spoke with them for 30 to 45 minutes. After the long, drawn-out conversation, Nutty returned to the Blazer and told Patrick that they were going to follow Barron and Thomas to a house in Southgate. Barron and Thomas drove out of the parking lot together in a blue Chevy Sprint, an ARA company car that Thomas often drove. Nutty, Patrick, and Darius proceeded to follow the Sprint as far as the freeway, but Nutty decided at the last moment not to follow and told Patrick to drive instead back to his house. There, they dropped off the guns in the plastic bag of fake cash. This is where the plot thickens, as Darius would give a slightly different account than that of Patrick of the events at the bar parking lot. Darius' story goes like this. While he was waiting in Patrick's truck, he saw a Camaro drive in. A Hispanic man got out of the Camaro and approached Patrick's truck. After the Hispanic man walked away, Patrick said that was Tony. Tony then went over and talked to Nutty and Barron. Barron left with Tony in the Camaro. Patrick, however, denied seeing someone named Tony that night. Another witness, Jose Picano's testimony, was in accord with Patrick, and Barron and Thomas left together in the blue Chevy Sprint. The story doesn't end here. Nutty and Patrick drove to the Spring Street home in separate cars. Nutty drove his new Mercedes 190E, which he parked in the driveway. Patrick drove his Chevy Blazer with Darius as his passenger and parked in the front of the house. Nutty, Patrick, and Darius stayed in front of the house drinking beer for about an hour, plotting about the lick that they were about to hit. They would all eventually make their way to the vacant upstairs apartment and continue to drink while smoking weed. At some point, Nutty received their page and made a call. Nutty would then tell Patrick that Barron wanted to come to the house to do the drug deal. In the meantime, Dino had arrived and joined the others in the upstairs apartment. About 10 minutes after Dino arrived, Barron and Thomas arrived in the blue Sprint. It was at this point that Nutty went outside to talk to them. Upon
snake business, boy had newspaper wrapped up like money, ready to do a deal, and they still end up murking something. That's a super snake.
On returning, Nutty told Patrick that they should go to Nutty's crib to get the guns and the fake cash. They left and returned as Barron and Thomas waited in their car parked outside. After nearly 2.5 hours of bullshitting, the lick was about to go down. Nutty, Patrick, Barron, and Thomas finally went to the upstairs apartment, but Darius and Dino were waiting. Patrick entered the apartment first. Upon entering, he heard someone say, "Get down, don't nobody move." That someone was none other than Nutty, who pulled out a .38 caliber revolver. Patrick was also strapped with a .38 caliber handgun as Barron and Thomas lie on the floor. It was at this point that Nutty would take shoestrings out of his coat pocket and instructed the others to tie the victim's hands and feet as Darius went through their pockets and removed their wallets. From the way this story has been painted, Nutty has been drawn out as the ringleader. The planned jack move is still going down. Nutty propped up Barron, who was now bound against one of the walls, with his feet in front of him and his hand behind his back. Nutty put the .38 caliber revolver up to Barron's face, demanding the 3 birds of yayo. It was at this point that Nutty would tell Darius to move the car, which was parked in front of the Spring Street home, in case the victim's homies came looking for them. Nutty wasn't fucking around, as he would tell Barron to call his homies on the phone and tell them that all of the money was there, warning him not to speak Spanish. Kneeling and holding his gun, Nutty dialed the phone and held the receiver up to Barron's ear. Barron, scared for his life, told Nutty that the phone was not making a connection.
Nah, Nutty sound like a crash dummy. He don't sound too smart. I ain't gonna hold you. He sound like a crash dummy. He probably was on something by then. That boy was on that water, that wet.
Still holding his gun, Nutty brought the phone down and started redialing the number. As Nutty was dialing, his gun discharged, shooting Barron in the chest. Nutty then got up off his knees, walked over to Thomas, who was lying bound on the floor across the room, and shot him twice in the head. Nutty then walked back over to Barron and shot him in the head once. After the shootings, Nutty, Patrick, and Dino went to the backyard. They waited for Darius to return from moving the victim's car. Having no idea what to do next, Nutty proposed moving the bodies. Patrick moved the Blazer from the street into the garage of the Spring Street home, closing the garage doors behind him. All four of them worked to move the dead bodies of Barron and Thomas into the back of the Blazer. In a poor attempt at getting rid of evidence, Darius unsuccessfully attempted to clean up some of the blood on the garage floor by throwing a bucket of water on it. Anxious to make a move, Nutty and the others were ready to drive off with the bodies, but out of nowhere, Dino yelled out a warning that the police were coming. About 20 to 30 minutes had elapsed between the shootings and the arrival of the police. Nutty and the three others fled, leaving the Blazer with the victims' bodies in the back seat, where police would discover them. Cool. George Brett Williams, a.k.a. Nutty, was convicted of the 1990 slayings of two Los Angeles men who were to sell him several bricks of yayo, per Deputy District Attorney Kevin McCormick. He was scheduled to be sentenced by Judge Madge Wakai in Compton. The District Attorney's Office sought the death penalty because George Williams had been involved in violent incidents since he was a teen. For the most part, you can look at the history of a gang member and figure out what happened, where things went wrong. However, for George Williams, this was not the case. George came from a very wealthy family, had a loving mother and father, and was given every possible opportunity to succeed in life. George's attorney, Ronald Lemieux, stated in court that he intended to file a motion for a new trial. Authorities said that in January of 1990, George Williams and three other gang members planned to steal drugs from Jack Barron and Willie Thomas. According to the DA, George and his partners cut up pages from a telephone book, wrapping them in paper bags that they were going to pass off as bundles of cash. During trial, witnesses testified that George's gun accidentally went off, striking one of the victims in the chest. Afraid that any survivors would testify, George allegedly shot both men point blank in the head. Then thereafter, George and his homies robbed the dead men and stole their car. George's homies are serving life sentences for their roles in the shooting. In 1991, a Los Angeles County jury found George Brett Williams, aka Big Nutty, guilty of 2 first-degree murders and found true the special circumstance allegations of multiple murder, and that the murders were committed while Nutty was engaged in the commission or attempted commission of a robbery. The jury further found Nutty guilty of 2 counts of second-degree robbery and found true that Nutty personally used a firearm in the commission of the felony offenses. After the penalty phase, the jury returned a verdict of death. Trial court denied Nutty's motion for a new trial and for modification of the penalty and sentenced him to death. Despite Nutty being convicted and as being the mastermind and orchestrator of this double murder, could it all just be karma? Although Nutty was sentenced to death, the streets of LA would tell a different story, one that consists of set hopping and snitching. According to actual Rolling 60 members, Nutty was only part of the gang for a very short time, 5 to 6 months to be exact, before he snitched on damn near the entire hood. Wow. Word on the streets is that Nutty is the most legendary snitch in the history of the 60s. In fact, before being put on, members are given a briefing about Nutty, as well as given a strict warning not to be like him.
Daddy got put on. His daddy was from the hood like 5 months before he turned in the whole neighborhood. He the greatest the greatest snitch of all time from 60s. I'm talking about as soon as you get put on 60s, they're going to talk about the nigga daddy. Hey, you don't want to be this guy. The nigga daddy was in protective custody. I got the paperwork, copies of it. Nigga daddy was in protective custody before he turned the hood and all type of shit. You know what I mean? All type of shit.
There's got to be some mental stuff going on. You come from a good family, you know what I mean, and decided to just go into it and then dive into it head first. Got to be some mental issues going on, first of all. Second of all, I'm sure he was addicted to some type of substance. He might have been a crackhead because the way that sounded like he was moving real crazy, real janky business. So this is Loose Cannon's dad. So we're going to correlate, you know what I mean, you know, the similarities to him and Wack 100's new torpedo, J Hood. You know, because you got to analyze the process, analyze Wack 100's habits. It's all spelled out for you.
OG Cartoon from 53rd Street Avalon Crips at one point took to his YouTube channel to run an app about having a beef with Nutty.
Man, I'm back again, man. This is a story with me, the Crazy Ray, and a guy by the name of Nutty. You know, me and his father had an issue back in the day. Anyway, so now, when the dude pull up and go to woofing, whoa, he kind of woofing at Ray. Now you already know, homie, in my heart, that's a no-no. That was a no-no off the rip. So boom. Ray immediately draw down. Boom. So when Ray draw down on Slim, I'm next to him. The dude Nutty from 60s, he draw down. So when he draw down, I draw down on him.
To further add insult to injury, Munchie B will speak on the fake Loose Cannon's Pop Wow on the No Jumper podcast.
Termaine and Jermaine, they brother, they twin brothers. They dad, the snitch, he's from Athens Park Bloods. He's from Hoover, 59 Hoover.
Wait, what?
And then he's from Rolling 60s Crip. Like
the dad trip hop 3 times?
Bro, listen.
Boy got mental issues, man. Just like Crip Mac, who was doing the same thing.
Listen,
I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here, guys.
Sweetie, bro, all Rolling 60 Crips, nigga. Listen, his dad was from Anthony's Park Bloods to 59 Hoover to Rolling 60 Crip. He's a notorious snitch. He took people down. It's like it lines up with they behavior. Like they you know what I'm saying? Like how you go all these hoods and you snitching on people, and then, bro, Sweetie,
this dude is just like his daddy. This dude, Loose Cannon. This dude is a rat. He told on Big U. He told on mine.
George Nutty Williams, aka Loose Cannon's dad.
His daddy's lied on so many people. 4 different people got him life sentence.
Little Eddie Boy ended up getting convicted of. And this is when the name George Williams comes into play.
There was some 59 who that he told on lost his life, brother, in the penitentiary because this dude's daddy, Loose Cannon's daddy, Nutty, lied on that man, got that man a lifetime because he was a high powered rat informant.
If he didn't get caught with them bodies in the car, man, he would have put that on everybody. That's the only reason why they got him. I don't know if he's still on death row right now, but we know he in there forever. But it's a deep situation here now. J Hood Pop Stutterbox is accused of the same situation, same type of stuff. First of all, I'm gonna let Reggie speak a little bit on it. I might play this Wack 100 one, but just to get familiar with the Stutterbox, and this is J Hood's dad. Before we play the J Hood speaking about why his dad a rat and all this stuff, let's get to it though. He can't even look in the camera because I think he's holding some information that he know about that specific case, you know. And salute to Active Chucks, Deuce M's, Don Mukiwe's conversations, because they already uncovered all of it. But yeah, he's still kind of rocking with it though. But my bad, y'all. I'm tripping. Here we go. Damn, I be tweaking lately.
So that's me and Wack's 100 relationship. Stutterbox is the guy from Main Street that I touched on a little bit on a couple of things. Hadn't seen him in a while. So I'll show y'all who these two guys are first before I speak on them. And tell y'all what's going on for those of y'all that haven't been following it. Because I know a lot of y'all just follow Reggie Wright on Bomb First. And that's all the YouTube information y'all get. But John, play this little snippet between Wack 100 and Stutterbox, mainly from Stutterbox, and what he spoke on about Wack 100.
Man, what's up with it, man? You know, I've been wanting to check something, but you always got to be thinking, man, before you open your mouth. Especially if you really thinking about moving, you feel me? It should be silence and violence. You know, I want to speak on this dude keep kicking my name. I told this nigga I'ma drown his ass, homie, on Main Street. I'ma drown, cuz.
It's J Hood father. They saying he an informant and all that, but he's still from where he's from. You see, throw it up on Main Street, put it on the set. Woo, scary game. Hope these kids paying attention. That gang shit get tricky.
Let me tell you how I meet this clown, man. This nigga all in my paperwork, man. The nigga say box, the nigga Shug won't put me on, homie. I've been fucking with this dude for a couple years.
This dude admitted what he did. He admitted to telling. So I'm inclined to kind of believe him when he's speaking on Wack being in his paperwork, but let's keep it pushing, y'all.
I said, all right, homie. Since you my neighbor, I'ma fuck with you. The nigga begged me to put him with game. Begged me to put him with Chuck. Holla at Chuck for me, Box. Holla at Reggie for me, Box. They both told me 6 times, no, no, no. So I say, homie, they don't want to fuck with you. Box, they'll do it for you if you tell them to do it for you. Okay, homie. Chuck, do it for me, man. And if cuz fuck up, I'll come over there and move cuz out your camp myself.
One thing about Wack, sound like he persistent. He was on him, persistent with it.
Chuck said, Box, you got me? I said, cuz I got you. Changed cuz life, man. He ain't looked back. In the meantime, I'm going through some politicking with my neighborhood. You know, not finna kick no names. Rest in peace to the G homie. You ain't saved no homies, homie. You ain't changed my daughter diaper. My son don't call you. He just took a deal for 11 years. He on his way home.
J Hood, his son.
Don't nobody respect you. You are J. Edgar Hoover, nigga.
He come across as he was a good father to his son the best he could. I don't know the details, but it's sad that you're going to turn your back on your pops for somebody who, like, I don't even think they know each other that long like that. J Hood was away for 11 years. You feel me? Both of them are in paperwork, and both of them got all kind of accusations, but you're going to choose Wack. And I don't know if ODM Slim was lying or not, but ODM Slim said Wack offered you $1 million. Wack said he's going to give you some money, and I already suspected that.
You know, in trans, nigga. You the police, What really fucked me up is why I decided to let this buster ass nigga know I know what he did, right? The nigga called me one day and say, Box, I'm out of my truck. Where you at? I said, I'm at home, homie. He say, they own my wife at the mall. Look out for me. I grabbed the blicky, smash up there. I see his wife coming out the driveway. I see some dudes. They most likely probably trying to holler at her. I don't know, right? But they disrespecting her movements. So I get them up off of them. I ain't gonna say what I did, but I got the niggas up off of her. Fast forward, I'll get to some gangster shit. Nigga almost killed me and my baby mama, put like 20 holes in my Rolls Royce. See, but where I'm from, niggas beef, 3, 4 niggas, 5 niggas get killed, and niggas squash it. This old buster ass nigga from the valley, since hanging around me, he know a few people I know. He trying to reach out to the nigga behind my back to give the nigga my address, because we be staying across the street from each other, like cat corner. This damn 20 years ago though. This nigga keep kicking my name, infatuated, but he's a homosexual after 20 years.
Wow.
Right. You know I'm gonna drown your ass on Main Street.
You know what's scary about LA? These kids came up with money. Stutterbox had money, big house, raised in J Hood. And you know, Loose Cannon come from money. His grandparents had money in the family and all that. His pops probably slipped up and got left out of the will or whatever, but they come from money. But in LA, that money don't matter. You know, usually other towns, this gang shit is pushed by poverty most of the time. You know, the kids relating on some poverty stuff, some getting some money, doing this or that. But in LA, man, it's really deep neighborhood stuff. And these kids came up with bread, man.
Drown your ass. First chance I get. I can see how, no disrespect to Nip, cuz, but I can see how a nigga drown a nigga then turn back and kick him in their motherfucking face on Main Street. But anyway, I call Wack. My Rolls Royce gets shot up. My girl almost get killed. I lay on top of her. We make it up out of there. Wack see the bullet holes in my car the next day. He reaching out, trying to contact the nigga who supposed to be the boogeyman. I know where the nigga live at, behind my back. It's in the paperwork. All on wiretap. That's why your house got ready, you bitch ass nigga. You conspiracy to commit murder, nigga. You buster ass nigga. But let me tell you how it play out. I call cuz, it's 3 niggas sitting in front of your house, cuz. Is these your homies, Wack? Oh, no, Box, I know who that is. I jet fuel out the house with the fully. Then niggas probably almost shot each other trying to pull off. You feel me? Almost shot each other. If I know what I knew now, I would have jumped over their car, cuz, ran across the lawn, kicked in Wack door, and killed cuz on Main Street, on Mafia. You's a buster, nigga. You the police. You got the homie. You know, every real nigga that came into your life, me first, you crossed me. Big U second, you crossed him. Wacko, you crossed him. You talk about Game behind his back. You talk about Lil Jon behind his back. You talk about Ray J. You's a bitch.
So this is what Stutterbox's opinion is and Wack response.
Snowfall.
Yeah, oh
You
yeah,
remember the scene
yeah.
where Uncle Jerome pulled up in the Rolls Royce?
Yeah.
That was Stutterbox. We already know we can't trust a lot of stuff. Stutterbox was accused of some things later. So, you know, but we already know what Wack gonna do, so we can't really trust nothing he gonna say. But I'm gonna let a little of this play because he some details about that.
Can you talk about the situation that you have that's ongoing with Stutterbox? I know Greg is working on getting us the either audio or the.
Yeah, I talked to Reggie today. Yeah. He said he'd been in talks with Greg. I guess Greg got some of the audio. I guess what Stutterbox was telling. Right. You know, it really not an ongoing thing because it's like I'm kind of like a victim, but I'm not. I survived it. But it just lets me know the route of the streets. Everybody in the streets knew that situation. Everybody in the streets watched that man. go to CCB court on 7-8 of his homeboys and line them up and tell. I knew the inner workings of it because we was neighbors. So I knew when the car got shot up, I knew all that, what was going on. I just didn't know he had went to the police. I didn't know that I didn't know he was a working informant for the feds initially. And the feds, I believe, then referred him to LAPD, which was Greg Case.
Okay. So now, situation. Wack 100 is alleged on all these paperwork. He's alleged to be CS2 back. But guess who don't give a damn? His newest torpedo. Oh, before I get into that, hold up though, because it's a lot that was leading up to that. But matter of fact, let's go.
Part of your life, because we don't really know about that side of things.
My mom didn't want my dad around because my dad was in the streets.
Okay.
So, all right. So look, my mom is from out the 90s. She's from rolling 90s. So to her, Carson was the suburbs. So she wanted to get me away from my father and move me to what she considered was the suburbs. She didn't know that Carson was a predominantly black neighborhood, and anything that is predominantly black and Hispanic is gangs all throughout LA County.
So your dad was there for you, but your mom didn't want you over there with him because he was in the area that was gang infested. Little did she know Carson was gang infested too. But the point is, your dad was there for you though.
You know what I mean? And then like my mom and her friends, all that grew up like in the 90s and the Hoovers. And like my uncle, they used to be from 90 Hoover before they turned 90 neighbor. Like my family is like really deeply embedded in the 90s. Like, so like my aunties is from A-Tray Hoover, but my uncles was from 90 Hoover, but they all turned 90 neighborhood. They was from Orchard and all that. So my mom was from rolling 90s, but my aunties is from Hoover. They all of them felt like Carson was a good neighborhood. So they all took some money and went and bought houses in Carson and rented houses in Carson and raised me and my cousins in Carson. So my dad didn't even know where we was at. My mom like took me away from my father. And then like right before my mother passed away, because my mother passed away when I was in 10th grade. So my mother was like, nigga, was like, I can't teach you how to be a man. I need your father gonna have to teach you how to be a man.
Now, do you think if his father was in his life in the early years, he might have had a half of a chance? Because, you know, these dudes with money, them gangbangers with money, they usually try to keep their kids away from certain things. I don't know. That's just a question. But let's keep going.
And when my 9th grade year, I went to Taft. I moved to Woodland Hills to my dad's house. And that's when me and my dad really became like close.
Okay.
So like from adolescent, like from 0 to 9th grade, I didn't have no relationship with my father.
Because of your mom. And that's what you said. It was because of your mom, not because of him.
From 9th grade on up, me and my father, we had a relationship. It was shaky. It was a father-son relationship, but you know, he had missed that time. And shit, I was already in the streets. I was hearing stories about him, about how he was operating in the streets, and all I knew was that's it. I was in the streets. You know, so he kept trying to get me out the streets. He felt like I was breaking into jail because he like, nigga, you grew up in Carson. He from Main Street. You feel me? He from the East Side.
If my baby mama tried to keep my son away from me, I probably would have had to take her to court and get my custody, get my due with him. So yeah, maybe that's an excuse because he sure could have took her to court and got partial custody or whatever, weekends or whatever else. So yeah.
So he think Carson is the suburbs too, just like how my mama think, until he ran over there and was like, wait a minute, nigga, this look like it's 100 niggas on this block. It's all type of nutty blocks and Souths and Stevenson villages and all different type of Compton crib hoods. This is just like regular politics. It's the same thing. You feel me?
Somebody in the chat said, ask him how he feels about his dad telling.
Yeah, he did what he did.
I don't actually know the details because
he did what he did, but I still love my father. I don't care what he did.
Is that a challenge though? Is that like weird to balance those two emotions?
My dad not in the streets, and I don't look at nobody in my family. I don't govern nobody that I care or love about but street rules. And I don't care about nobody in the street, no street rules. This shit is over with. Man, if
you team streets is dead?
The streets is dead.
Oh, Munchie. Rebuttal.
So with that right there, and I was informed about the his stand on with his pops, but what's crazy and what's ill is after this man say this stuff about your pops, you rocking with him? You feel me? Let's get back into that though. Cause you rocking with a man that violated your pops like this is crazy. Hold up, man, because we gotta get to the bottom of it.
You crossed him. You talk about game behind his back. You talk about Lil John.
Me, him, Suge, the police that all these snitches work for, when he retired, he exposed them all. Keefe D from Compton Crip, he exposed all his informants. So that's the picture in the book in my PTR. That's that one. That's that my brother. Me, Suge, and that stutter box to the left. Right?
Yeah.
So if you go to the chapter called Stutter Box, they gonna break down everything he did. And like, yeah, out of nowhere, he came in, gave us this man's name, told us he had a trucking company. If you want to get to Suge, you got to go through him. He moving cocaine and dope from here to there. They spend $300,000-$400,000 nigga with wires, tracking devices, all kind of shit. They came into my crib.
You chilling with the answer?
I lost a dog that day. My dog
Salute
Wack,
Dominican
my
Mayweather.
bulls. When they hit the back gate.
Salute to my boy,
He
man, who
locked
joined the show last night, man. Ellenwood Studios TV. The homie Ted, we killed it. That was a good episode, man. Epic reaction, getting to the points. You know, Pop got some shine. Rest in peace to Pop, the legend. Well, let's keep it going. Now, J Hood, you still love your pops. This man calling your pops gay, all kind of crazy stuff. But you back him more than it seemed like you his crash dummy. You loyal to him. That's weird. Anybody violate my pops, you know, first thing, we ain't homies. That's all. Let's get that out the way. Now, all the other stuff we'll get in, that's later. But first off, ain't no homies. You violate my pops.
The nigga, they had to shoot the nigga like 7-8 times.
Man.
Kill him. He came in, cuffed my wife. It was like 40 agents, my nigga. And couldn't find shit. Had to walk up out of here. He sent them. He had a moment. They thought they were going to find something in the house. He didn't find nothing. I still didn't know what time it was. Let me tell you what I knew what time it was. So when they come in, they hit my home office. They were searching about 18 minutes. When they got to the home office, dude called the search off. Because one of their reasons why they went in front of the judge, they filed some shit called living beyond my means, which kind of supported their probable cause along with their confidential informant that they paying. He's a reliable source.
See, you get lost in a lot of his caps sometimes. I ain't gonna hold you, but the thing is, J Hood, I believe, is mentally touched too, just like Loose Cannon and Wack 100. He preys on those. So you gotta look at his team, and when the Blueface situation, his so-called security, that dude was on the spectrum too. It's what Wack preys on, you know what I mean? These dudes that he could take advantage of with his quick talking. Crazy as hell, bro.
So they watching the lifestyle. So when he come into the crib and he hit the home office, he sees, well, actually, let me rewind. On paper, Cass Jones made $30,000-$40,000 a year. That's it. As a Social Security number, I don't make no money. So they looking at everything and they like, this don't add up. But what they failed to do was run everything. So when they hit that home office and they seen all these different corporations and they seen these cars under this corporation, these houses under this corporation, this under this, he then knew everything was justified on my side, right? Because like even today, I haven't had a personal bank account 15, 16 years. Everything I do is up under a corp.
Since J Hood been out, I'm gonna go back and let y'all hear how he used to talk about Stutter Box when J Hood was locked up. But since J Hood been out, Wack he been cleaning it up, try to clean it up slowly but surely. He's saying how he ratted, but he used to say crazy stuff about him.
When I get gas, it's up under a corp. Whatever I do is I'm operating up under a corporation. So they take my files, uncuff my wife. They take her. She had 2 guns, legal guns in her name in the crib. They take those. Call my attorney. We go down to the federal building off of Wilshire and Sepulveda, whatever that shit is down there. Now, this one I knew what time it was. When I go up to the 50th or 60th floor, nigga, we come out the elevator, nigga. Ain't nothing but FBI flak jackets walking around this. About 2 months, maybe about a month or 2 prior to this happening at my crib, Stutterbox invited me to this spot called Stevie's on the Strip, soul food restaurant. So when I get there, it's 2 females there. It's 2 females there, right? Now, most people move a certain way. I'm really an eyeball type of nigga. Whack don't do, I ain't off into. So when I get there, it's him, it's 2 chicks at the table. I sit at the table. What up, Box? What you need me for? Oh man, nigga, just get you out the house, nigga, hang out a little bit. 2 women, 2 of my homegirls, this, that, another. I said, oh, okay, yeah, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? About 5 minutes, he said, I'm finna go to the bathroom. When he go to the bathroom, the chick start popping. She telling me she from New Orleans. She came out here to meet with this nigga, this bitch ass nigga, and answer his phone. She come out here every month to buy 5 keys, all this shit, right? So when she talking, I'm looking at the bitch, right? Bitch bad. So when Box come back, I tell him I gotta go to the bathroom. So I make my way to the bathroom. Instead of making the left, I make a hard right to valet. I get on up out of there.
You chilling with the answer.
Right? When I got to the 60th floor, T-Money, guess who I saw the FBI flak jacket? The bitch. Press play. Wiretap. This is why I know when I hear certain wiretaps.
Now, can we believe that, though? I think it came out, that Stutterbox, the murder rap, that case, that all came out. He was telling, but these stories that homie talking, we can't believe every detail, every inch, because that's been proven. I'm gonna let it a little more, then I'm gonna get into this stuff, man, because this fight, it looked like between Spoety Face and him, this shit turned into a spectacle, man. They need to go ahead and try to get some money off of this, I guess, get in the ring. But I don't know if that's where they're going, but I know they need it.
How they get you? They got me on the phone. Said, yeah. All right, what you got? Said, we got a special move. Where's it coming from? Down by National City, down by Tijuana, Mexico. Yeah. All right. It's gonna be kind of heavy, but it'll pay you 23,000 one way. Where's it going? Seattle area, Seattle, Bellevue, Tacoma, multiple stops. Get it to them before they close 9 hours. You straight. All right, no problem. I'll be down there to get it.
As soon as that murder rap movie dropped, Wack was giving us all kind of extra details. He got in front of it because he wanted to change the narrative and change everything to fit his story. But as soon as it dropped, he was throwing in all kind of extra shit in the game, man. You can't really trust a lot of it.
With the answer.
So they turned off the thing. They like, well, our confidential informant is saying you moving drugs for Suge Knight. I said, moving drugs for Suge Knight. Now, me personally, I've never heard Suge involved in the cocaine, the drug dealing, none of that shit. So I'm looking at it like they crazy because I know what recording they got. I said, well, can I make a phone call in front of you on speakerphone? Yeah. Call the number. What up, Wack? Hey, we got something cooking down by Mexico. Yeah. Talking about National City. Yeah, what you got? He said, yeah, we got 6. I said, what it pay? It ain't that what you used to, but you can get 17, 18, 17. He said, but it's light. It ain't that heavy. How much weight we talking? 71, 72,000 pounds. All right, cool. I said, yo, who am I talking to again? He said, this is BMW Distribution, Auto Logistics. All right, thanks. I said, you stupid motherfucker, what you listening to is me getting a load of cars going from one place to another. What is you talking about? Now his superiors is looking at him like he crazy. If you watch the movie Unsolved, that's when you...
I think that's, Deuce Sims and certain people believe that's what he try to throw a twist in there, you feel me? And I ain't gonna hold you the way I'm thinking about it right now. I think that's he got caught up, and that's when he started talking way back then.
See, dude get stark raving mad and say, this dude is lying on this dude. He ain't doing none of this. Stutterbox is the nigga that played Uncle Jerome. I'm the truck driver. They pulled over. There was magazines in the back. They just summed it all up in one. So what I'm saying is, you niggas or whoever these niggas is, y'all that desperate. You about to prosecute Wack with a nigga that told on Wack? I don't understand this math. I know the world is changing. Are we getting?
Yeah, bro. Something ain't adding up there, buddy. Something ain't adding up about that case, just like the Texas case, just like a whole bunch of other stuff, man, that you just keep skating from. Something just is not adding up. And it's kind of crazy. Now, this Spoety face situation, like I said, Spoety said he want to scrap. He said, let's get it in. Let's squabble. Let's squabble up. J Hood is under fire. He's being accused of all kind of other things. I ain't even going to mention it, but y'all know what it is, man. Go check out Active Chucks and Don Mukiwe Conversations. The Calipatria, all that weird stuff going on. Same stuff as his best friend that's locked up. But we keeping that in mind. But let's watch Spoety face first. Spoety face.
On YouTube, man, what's going on with all my good subs? As you guys can see, we reached our goal. We well over 20,000 subscribers, man. Thanks to all you guys, man. Thanks to all you guys. Need to get that out the way. We need to do it the right way. Show these kids and show these other adults that don't have no anger control or can't control their emotions or anything like that. We need to show them, the proper way to do it or the right way we can do it, or there's another option instead of just, and leading to violence, more violence, or different type of communities clashing or getting into it. So I want to challenge you right here, right now, J Hood. I want to challenge you right here, right now, J Hood. No, I'm not even gonna say. I'm not. You know what? I'm not even gonna say you, J Hood. I want to challenge you and your uncle to a boxing match.
Wack 100.
A boxing match.
You know damn well that ain't happening with Wack, but it might happen with J Hood.
You got upset that I was talking about your uncle. You got mad that I was calling him 3-figure Willie. You got mad that I call him Mudslide Wack, Carjack Wack, No Jack Wack. I'm challenging you and your uncle, since that's your uncle, to a boxing match. You his nephew, so he wants you to catch the fade with me. This what we gonna do. This what I'm challenging you to. I'll catch the fade, but I want him to catch a fade. I got a fade for him. I'm gonna go get my internet unk, Chinaman, Damian Porter, the big fella. Wack, come on in, let's make this happen, homie. Yeah, I said it. I'm going to get the big fella. I'm going to get Damian Porter, aka Chinaman, Westside Hoover, straight like that. Straight like that. You got your uncle, I got my internet uncle. What's up? Damian Porter need that from Wack. I need that from you, J Hood. Straight up. We not listen, you know what I'm saying? I know you didn't like how things turned out. I don't like how things turned out. It's been a whole lot of chitter chatter and all that. That's put on for the culture. That's put on for the culture. We challenge y'all to anything that you want to do. MMA match, boxing match, WWE stuff, whatever.
I'm suspecting this to be a big play from the beginning, which I don't like. What you mean make the call, Dominican homie? I don't know, man, because this seemed like some bullshit. But I ain't gonna hold you. That'll be a good ass fight. I'm definitely with seeing it.
As we could get on, as long as we could put these gloves on, man, and show these kids that this all you need these days. This is all you need to be a man. As long as you will use these, you don't have to use no guns, you don't have to use no other type of violence, no nothing. Let's do it for the culture. You say you a man of faith, you a Muslim man, I'm an Israelite. Let's do it the right way. So J Hood, I come on here right now. I challenge you and your uncle, three finger Willie, 3 up, 3 down. The man that like to get his groceries eaten,
whoa,
or his prison wallet played with, to a boxing match or MMA match.
Whoa. Okay. You know, and I respect his message off top. You feel me? Wack definitely ain't fighting. We know that. Hey, Dominican Mayweather, you might have to get up in there. You feel me? I think, but that'll be a good fight. But J Hood probably, you know, torpedoed out. The problem with gangs fighting, they got the homies there, and some stupid shit could pop off, so it'll have to be private, obviously. But let's see what J Hood say in response to that. And J Hood, like I said, is under fire right now in these YouTube streets. He jumped out the window. He got on no jumper, got to turning up, stirring up shit. You've seen a lot of people do that, and they fall victim to that, you know, and they end up fading away. J Hood already got a fan base out there. He started his own shit, but he's under scrutiny right now, man. They calling him everything in the book. But let's see what J Hood say in response about this boxing situation.
Yo, you know who it is. It's me, J Hood. Like, comment, subscribe, and we back for another one like the other one. You hear me? All praise the Most High, the best of all planners.
That's a fact.
On some street shit, we can do whatever. I'm with all.
See, I knew he was going to do that too. First of all, the nigga, Spoety ain't say nothing about on some street shit, nigga. We know you a gangster, but that's the thing. See, I'm from, you know, half my life in San Diego. Them gangsters go extra hard because it's like, y'all think we ain't. Y'all think they ain't. I think, you feel me, they got it's like the short guy syndrome. Niggas go extra tough. Most of them, the toughest dudes are some short niggas because they feel like they got to prove something. Nigga, we already know what it is, man. But Spoety was talking about getting in a boxing ring, obviously, and it sounded like he's trying to get a check out of it. He ain't say no street shit, but let's get it. Let me get it right though. My bad, y'all.
Popping it about you. Look, Spoety face. On some street shit, we can do whatever. I'm with all of the whatever. You feel me? Like I said, we could have squabbled that day. You told me that you didn't want us to speak about it publicly, and I let it go. You feel me? I don't really do the Instagram, internet stuff back and forth, right? The only thing I got a problem with is you went on the platform and said, man, I didn't know you was coming up there. That was my second, when we had our little dispute, that was my second time being on the Tuesday show. We got a whole flyer. Then you got Old Dirty Man Slim,
ODM,
dick riding you, talking about he didn't know he was gonna be there. Like,
but that's the only problem with him, that he said you ain't know you don't got a problem with him calling your uncle rat and the this and the that. You know, the guy you stand up for.
Just trying to clout chase. Like, all right, Spoety, me and you, we had an altercation, but me and you not beefing. Now, ODM Slim, so weird. He putting out fake allegations about people's sexuality, about me, C-Star, about all this. Like, I can't respect that, right? I can't respect that because
I ain't gonna lie, and I'm a fan of ODM Slim channel, and I think he's credible. I feel he's credible. A lot of stuff. I never looked at him as a capper and make up stuff. So I don't know, but I ain't watched the episode of ODM Slim, but it's a couple other publications speaking that same narrative about him. So, you know what we say here, where there's smoke, there's got to be some type of fire or a spark or something, man. Sorry.
Me and you, I ain't put no lie out there about you, Spoety, and you ain't put no lie out there about me, but your people, ODM, he trying to do anything to go viral. He trying to do anything to stay relevant. He done said look how big I am. Look at my teeth. He calling me a dope fiend. ODM Slim calling me a dope fiend. The skinny, going bald, chipped tooth, yellow teeth, talking fast. Dude said, I'm a dope fiend.
I think he was talking about them other kind of dopes and pills that dudes get caught up in jail. I did a video about it. Go check it out. You feel me? Them pills turn you into a J-Cat and you get out and you still want that shit. That's dope too.
The dude who just made a video fake gagging on dick.
What?
The dude who paid a female some money to feast like groceries. Then he didn't want no poom poom.
Boy got something to prove because Spoety, I ain't played the whole Spoety face shit, but I'm sure we got the gist of it. It's gonna be, let's go box for the kids and do this and show the kids something. He got something to prove. He going ham.
He want to do is to eat at, like it's talking about me. He talking about I'm willing to crash out over Spoety face. I'm ready to harm over Spoety face. Nigga, me and Spoety face not even beefing. You, Deuce Sims, both, first of all, you from 5'5". Y'all worst enemies is the Brims. You going against me, C-Star. C-Star really had nothing to do with it, but you doing all that with a nigga from Brim. You and y'all and the Brims is at war right now.
You going against your pops for Wack 100. Which one is worse? You think your pops is happy with the way you know, rocking with him, defending him, and going hard for him? Hell no. That should break your pop's heart. You say you still love him. You're going against your pops for Wack 100. That's crazy.
You talking this nigga in Wisconsin, you in Washington. You act like you really outside. You act like we really got an issue. I don't got no issue with neither one of y'all. Y'all cloud chasing. Spoety face, if we can get a bag for it, we can do whatever. We can kickbox, play soccer, football, basketball. Nigga, you can't fuck with me in no sport, no capacity, nigga. Period. Munchy B. That was all cap, fool. Everything Braves said was cap. I ain't even talked to Braves. I'm just letting you know. You know I fuck with you. What's understood don't gotta be explained.
Sound like Braves exposed him. Braves told Munchy B that how J Hood be talking about him. And you know, because Braves and Munchy, they don't get along. I want to see that fight though, man. I think that fight would be good, man. It's bad that Wack turned another young ghetto boy against his pops, against his own piz ops on the narrative of the rat narrative. And he just said his pops is a you know, civilian. But at the same time, you are following a guy that is just totally disrespecting Pop Duke. I don't know where they do that at. That's some next level evil that Wack got going on. You feel me? That's some next level shit. That's the same shit Spelly had on Loose Cannon. That had Loose just going crazy. Telling on doing this and that all on it. It's some type of weird ass spell he got going on, man. Because the way he talked about that man Pops ain't no way in hell fucking with that. Look at Stutterbox is pissed. This is back 3 years ago. Hold on, man. Because is this the one I seen? The way these two be getting at each other, nah, I can't rock with you, homie. You getting at my pop like them. Feel me? You getting that Pop Dukes like that? I can't turn my back on my pops for you, nigga. You just as grimy. if not grimier. Almost shut up. Hold up. If not grimier, man. So it's a weird thing. Weird thing. I've never seen nothing like this. But I think it's something to do because you see the correlations with him and Loose Cannon. They damn near the same type of individual. And even he was they said old boy was, I ain't gonna do no allegations on the other stuff because I ain't see no paperwork or nothing like that. But you see the similarities is what I'm saying. Wack targets these types.
Man, what's up with it, man?
Oh, this the one, man. Hold on, man.
The nigga, you ain't changed. You bust.
A nigga that's so mad, you see how you talking about him, and you like, fuck that, that's my uncle, I still love him. You said, you buster ass nigga. You tried to kill me, this, that. Wow. Whoa.
Says Rat 100 is all bad. I don't know where their relationship stands now, but I'm just saying what he said then, and this is what he said.
OG from Hoover, I'll be checking this channel too.
Here, ironies, if you will. One being that this video was taken 4 years ago. I was in prison. I might have been out, I got out 4 years ago. I might have been out at that time, but 4 years ago. They've been on the internet calling Rat 100 a rat 4 years ago.
Right.
They've been doing this for years. This man saying that he was all in this paperwork this 4 years ago. He been a rat. He been in people paperwork. This man saying that he's a homosexual, and this was 4 years ago. They been calling them gay. Why is everybody saying this? This is Stutterbox from Main Street Mafia Crip, J Hood's daddy. Him and Wack were cool at one point. This is a dude that's supposed to have been getting a lot of money and all that. He from Main Street. He says Rat 100 is all bad. I don't know where their relationship stands now, but I'm just saying what he said then, and this is what he said about the rat.
Man, what's up with it, man?
What's up with it?
You know, I've been wanting to check something, but
yeah, we seen that. I can't, you know, a dude that talk like this about my pops. Hold on. It's weird that you would even be associated with this dude. You really don't need him. The rumor is he said he offered you some, he been giving you money. But right now, don't sell your soul for a couple of dollars because Wack, we know he ain't got no real
they
money.
got to your car. Now, they say this shit about they pussy.
I didn't let her in.
Club.
I didn't let her in that day.
Why you didn't let her in, Wack?
Okay, so I was.
Oh, I'm tripping. This ain't what I need either. Damn. They probably washed the internet of it when Wack was just trying to obliterate Stutterbox, call him everything under the book. Because he knew he knew it was the same thing that he had going on, something to prove, you know what I mean? Where's that at though, man? I'm just so, I had it lined up too. This is crazy. A nigga like me, that's kind of weird that you would go against your dad for this. It's kind of weird, man. I don't know how much money you think you're getting, but it couldn't be that much money. That's weird. Super weird. See, the Main Street case, he had Shaq. It was it involved everybody. Most people that mess with this channel know all about this case. But.
Well, story with behind Wack 100, aka Cash Jones, Shaq, Stutterbox, and yourself.
I gotta run this while I find that audio. Hold up.
Well,
I only know, all of those guys through the investigation. I know of all of them because of this ongoing investigation. It took, 3.5 years. So Stutterbox was the beginning of it, right? He came forward because he had been, prior to me meeting with Stutterbox, me and Darren Dupree, he was involved in these extortion attempts towards Shaq. You know, because he had been hooking up with, allegedly, with Shaq's old lady. And then he was trying to extort money out of Shaq, saying that he was going to release, you know, photographs or, you know, compromising, you know, things about Shaquille. And Shaq had a friend that, I think his name was Mark Turner or something like that. Don't hold me to that name, but I think his name was Mark Turner, a guy from Atlanta. And that guy, Mark, knew the shot caller, the head guy for the gang that Stutterbox was associating with, which was the Main Street Crips. And his name was Del Dog. And so, you know, Shaq's like, man, this clown's trying to extort money from me, blah, blah, blah. He tells Mark. Well, Mark reaches out to Del Dog and says, man, you gotta square your guy away. You know, can you deal with Stutterbox? Tell him to knock this shit off. So Del Dog and the Main Street Crips go and they discipline and threaten Stutterbox. Stutterbox is scared for his life, so he goes running to law enforcement. So law enforcement gets involved in him. Then during that process, he mentions that, you know, he knows something about Biggie's murder.
Sound like Stutterbox was, from what he said, they were shooting up his Rolls Royce. He had a reason to be scared for his life. Like, oh, they was on him, man. So it been a thing. But salute to Deuce Sims. I want to play this because I ain't never see this, and I'm you know, Deuce Sims got his channel going crazy. Street TV, speaking on this whole situation.
Especially Clubhouse with them trolls. So them dudes is somebody behind the keyboard ain't got nothing to do. They're on that internet. They know how to search for information. The name is public. It's a public case. And they took that and then he spin with his narrative. He has, I think at last count, 30 YouTube channels that cater to his content. If you go on their page, it's nothing but Wack 100 content, because as long as they keep his name in the algorithm, they're seeing money.
Wow. That's the sad truth, man. Money, money, money.
So that's why you see a lot of dick sucking out there, because they might make a $40,000 check that month. Fuck
yeah, but them bags is going light now. Bags is going light, and they're gonna be stuck looking stupid.
Wack. I know a dude that fuck with Wack that's making $10,000 every single month. You know, he had my phone number and all of that. I ended up, he did do me one business favor. It wasn't really for me. It was for an artist that I'm just starting to look out for and co-manage, Yael, who got the song with Wally the Sensei, Scandalous. It's about Village? Yeah, for Park Village, right? So he got a new song with Joe Moses and Wack 100 artists, the Coyotes, called Section. So because I know Wack, I'm like, hey, Wack, I want to introduce you to the homie for Park Village. He on that song, what you call it? He got a song with...
Yeah, you one Damu. You know Wack, he another Damu. You approach him for, you know, some help, and what happened? Same thing that happened to Lil Gangsta Earn. He played you, he clowned you, violated you.
Your artist, he trying to holler at you. And I'm trying to back off, and Wack like, what hood he from in Compton Crep, Park Village? He said, okay, you know your homie, we like, yeah. He like, all right, just send Deuce Sims the information. Send that to my wife. I'm gonna have my wife do the release, and now he could do the song and ain't gotta worry about them taking it down. So he did do that, and that was something he did with 100, but Wack 100 always gonna have some strings attached to it. He don't do nothing out the kindness of his heart. He wants to try to build up loyalty with me. And I wasn't trying to have no strings attached to a foul nigga. Everything you do, the way you represent yourself is not how I conduct myself, and you older than me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody I know from the community, man, that's from the struggle and of the struggle is trying to utilize their platforms and whatever they got improvised to better their life and the quality of their life for their families. You a 45-year-old nigga acting like a 16-year-old YA baby on public media in everybody's business, dry snitching on niggas. I can't be around this dude and then my niggas is ready to go. Anything, life, whatever, because I did it the way I was supposed to do it. But I don't want to see them in jail and away from their family, so I'm not trying to push no buttons or press no line on the nigga. But you gonna respect mine, and when I see him, I'm gonna knock his bitch ass out. Dead homies. Yeah, I got a reputation around here for just that.
Right here where we at, it used to be a railing right here. You know what I'm saying? Niggas socking niggas out, taking niggas to the back to the trash can in the projects. Nigga fucking niggas up, put YGD, the gangster, put him on right here, me and Flat. Like nigga really was pushing that type of a line over here. So you got the right nigga, but I'm a different dude. I've evolved mentally. My priorities is something different. It has nothing to do with no gang-based shit. But as a man, when you put a false accusation like that, the only people I know that did all those disinformation campaigns was the FBI. So you walking and talking, quacking like a duck.
The feds. Same people that tried to destroy Martin Luther King. We talked about this last night on that epic show. Same people that try to destroy the Black Panthers, Tupac legacy. Who else tried to do that? This nigga Wack, man.
FBI, J. Edgar Hoover. So that's one of the reasons I never wanted to really fuck with him like that on some business shit. I think he fouled. I believed that before I got the paperwork I recently received with the Del Dog wiretap transcript where they talking about that after he got hemmed up, Wack 100 get hemmed up. He admits to it. He admits to also not just being hemmed up by the LAPD doing the Biggie investigation that the movie's about, but he admits that he goes to the federal building on Wilshire. Because remember, it was multiple investigations about the Biggie Tupac homicide. It wasn't just one investigation. You had different authorities trying to claim jurisdiction over it because of the Vegas, and they seen that both of those was connected. So what was you talking about with the police there? He said he went to go get his personal property. That's why he went there, right? But you had to go all the way up to the stairs to go get that. They could, you could get that at the desk or whatever, right? Your attorney could go sign for that. He got power of attorney. But in any event, in that paperwork, I revealed it on activechucks.com. That's with 2 S's. I break down and uploaded the transcript a couple of days ago and exposed Wack 100 was involved in that case. He was trying to tell Del Dog that Stutterbox went bad. Stutterbox, Del Dog don't even want Wack 100 to have his number. They know that they probably being wiretapped, so they're talking in code or whatever. And he specifically at the end of the thing, Mafia Style, who is the one Wack called him 3 times. At the beginning of the transcript, you see that the FBI puts what's his name in his transcription of what then occurred in the transcript. He said confidential source CS2 back BACK in parentheses, aka confidential source number 2 tries to call that Mafia Style telling Del Dog that confidential informant number 2 is trying to call him and he want his number. Before I give him your number, Del Dog, he said, I'm cool on that dude, man. Right?
Sound like the gang already knew what was up a long time ago. And that's when he reacted and he got mad and started calling everybody rats, which is weird behavior. But this is what it sounded like to me.
He said that Stutterbox is all bad and that the phones is compromised. Del Dog was smart. So Del Dog is in his mind probably thinking, how do you know that my phone and our phones is compromised? How do you know that Stutterbox went bad? Unless you went through that. So he gave you up. Now you trying to get my phone. No, I don't want that dude number. You know what I'm saying? And then the dude, KS Mafia, whatever they was calling him in the transcript, MS, right? Mafia Style. He like, well, I just wanted to know how to proceed forward. So I'm going to tell him, listen, because ain't no telling what kind of lies they was telling. I ain't helped the Wack boy none. That's what it says in the transcripts. The feds either wanted to give his bitch ass up or they just slipped up because the context that he used, Wack boy. Wow. I ain't helped the Wack boy none. The conversation is about Wack trying to get Del Dog number after Stutterbox gave him up. He probably
a lot of coincidences. Truck driver, back, CS2, this. Man, this is crazy.
He was working there trying to set Del Dog up, but he didn't get the opportunity because Del Dog, from his grave, you was a thinker, homie. Outsmarted that sucker.
Now, just so everybody knows, part of this is the way you're interpreting the paperwork.
It's not solidly proven yet, right?
No, I believe that the evidence thereof is because Wack 100 said, yeah, obviously he was trying to call Dale Dog. If a nigga from your hood snitching on you and you caught up on the shack or whatever case it is and all his money's involved, obviously you're gonna try to get in contact with him and let him know what happened. Hey, yo, this just happened. So that's obvious. Wack made that known. But on the transcript, this is the FBI transcript that this nigga is calling him, telling him Wack want his number. And he says Wack boy I ain't helped the Wack boy nothing. He just called me, he repeats it at the beginning, and then at the end, at the last paragraph, he just called me 3 times. So you know that the Wack boy that called 3 times at the end was the CS2 confidential source 2, aka Bat, in the paperwork that they first talked about when he first called. They slipped up or they did it on purpose because to put his dumb ass out there. But the paper.
Damn. Ugly situation, man. Who you gonna believe? My whole point of tonight's show is how you gonna turn your back on your pop dupes for a nigga that talk about them like this, man? How you gonna do it? Hold up, watch this. There's no way. There's no way. I don't give a damn how much he's saying and what he's saying he gonna do for you. He got you at no jumper, I guess. Man, there's no way. That's Pops, man. He took care of you.
I was always a target. I didn't come to know about Greg Cadence till after my door was kicked in, my wife was handcuffed, and they took a bunch of my files down to the Wilshire building, the federal building, right? I guess the initial case, from what I understood, was the investigation of the murder of Biggie Smalls, which was being handled on the Fed side. And I think the Feds kind of like joined forces with Greg Cadence, LAPD special units, right? So I think a lot of federal funding and federal buildings and was being used, which I know to be true, because it would be times the Stutterbox would call me. Like one time, he called me to meet him at Stevie's on Ventura Boulevard, soul food place, right? So I get in there. I don't know, he got these 2 chicks with him, but Stutterbox always got women with him. Right. He like, yeah, these 2 chicks, she from New Orleans and she from whatever they hear, they just want to holler at us, they cool, some bad bitches, and I'm looking at that box like, all right, we order food. Box gets up, goes to the bathroom. When he goes to the bathroom, the one chick says from New Orleans says, yeah, we was here to buy 5 keys, but our connection, he went dark. Box tells us that you deal with Suge. So I'm like, what the hell was Suge got to do with 5 keys, right? What the fuck do I got to do with 5 keys? Box. Right? They trying to catch me dirty. Right? Guess what walks in the door? The 2 fucking officers. It's like 2 in the morning. I said, that's them right there. So even Greg says, he's like, yeah, you was a different type of animal because who memorizes a license plate number, right? So I didn't know until Greg was like, look, man, you got this lawsuit on us. We don't know nothing the fuck about you. We don't want to know nothing the fuck about you. And I think Greg had made his mind up, because I don't know what it went in previously, that he had it with Stutterbox. So he tells me like, yo, this dude right here is the one put us on you, this, that, another. I'm in shock. Because I never had discussions with Stutterbox about my trucking business, what I did. He would always call and tell me, yeah, my homeboy Baldhead, some dude named Baldhead. My homeboy Baldhead drive trucks. But he don't make no money like that. He's still struggling to do this, that, and other. So I think in his head, he like, how this dude living behind the gate with me? He got Mercedes Benzes, his kid is going to private school. Like, I think in his head, and like, okay, I know he do business with Suge. He put together his own little thing and says, he's asked me, where you going? Oh, down there by TJ. but it's a city called National City where the car carrier boats dock.
You could tell when Wack be lying too. I'm gonna play this one last video, SGBG TV. You know what I mean? This is a situation where J Hood gonna be looking bad. He gonna regret these decisions. Unless, you know, it's what he do. But let's watch this last video as my boy put it all together, because I rock with him, SGBG TV.
And begin to talk about this CS2 back situation that I've been lightweight tiptoeing around because I didn't have all the information. Well, since then, I received a flurry of links as well as paperwork. So we're going to start kind of covering some of this and unraveling what's what. Now, to give you a closer idea of what the actual CS2 back case is about, or the CS2 back name, where it comes from, you have to first go into a story about Shaquille O'Neal. And we're going to watch this video and we're going to give y'all a fast forward, high speed update to everybody can get on the same page as me. Some of y'all may already be on this page, but let's just dive into it right now.
On the night of February 10th, 2008, a man by the name of Robert Ross went into a convenience store in West Hollywood. He was then kidnapped at gunpoint and was forced to drive to a home in South Central Los Angeles, in the territory of the Main Street Mafia Crips. There, he was beaten, robbed, and demanded to return Shaquille O'Neal's sex tape. The year is now 2004, and the Los Angeles Lakers are losing their groove. They lost their first NBA Finals in the Kobe and Shaq era, and while their status was nothing but solidified, Shaq's time in LA was almost up. Around this time, Shaq created a new label with his cousin, Money Mark Stevens.
That's where Wack learned about getting the sex tapes and making up sex tapes and extortion and shit like that. That's what it sounded like what was going on. They was trying to get that tape back.
A shrewd businessman who he regularly consulted with while he had Twism Records.
All right, so that's something interesting that I didn't know. I didn't know that Mark Stevens and Shaq was cousins, but I've been seeing his name in the paperwork. All right.
Which went under in 2001. This time, Shaq was looking to be the executive rather than the talent, and was looking for artists to partner with for his label. Now, enter Robert Ross, aka Stutterbox, due to his penchant for stuttering when he gets nervous or excited. He met Shaquille O'Neal at a party in LA in around 2003, and they became good friends. Stutterbox happened to know a lot of people around the music scene in LA.
So Stutterbox and Robert Ross is the same individual. Okay.
Shaq's new label, looking for new artists, commissioned Stutterbox to go and find new people for him. And he followed through, plus interest, it seems. Enough to where Shaq shouted him out in a 2006 remix of his song with a Notorious B.I.G.
Stutterbox. Stutterbox was in the video.
Stutterbox.
It's getting interesting.
It's not all he shouted out, though. In fact, he had a lot of guys in a set to rap.
Man, Money Marcus Bullet, Cousin Kenny is my cat, man. Dog and Box got my back, man. K Slay Corey.
Dog and Box got my back, man. So I'm kind of like going like probably ahead of what he's gonna say, but I imagine when he say Dog and Box got my back, man, he's talking about Dale Dog, a famous Main Street Crip, and Stutterbox, who also is or was a Main Street Crip.
Guns Main Street, Lil Shaq, man.
And he shouts out Main Street. Okay.
So who are these guys? And what's Main Street? Well, see, Robert Ross was affiliated with the Main Street Mafia Crips of South Central LA. This is where stuff gets sticky. While I've lived in South Central LA before, I have not had a singular gang interaction. Like the closest I got, I went to a basketball court alone on the weekend, broad daylight. It's the middle of the day on a weekend and there's no kids, no one around. I'm wondering what's going on. I see some gang tags, I put it together and I get up out of there. I turn on the jets. I am not about that life. So I brought in someone who is. Lamonte Deuce M. Sims is an OG coming from the Freetown Brims, a set of the Bloods in West South Central. He's worked with guys like YG and Ty.
It's like a quadruple reaction, but hey, sometimes you got to get reminded.
$sign before, and featured on the viral Brim anthem, Hit Your Brimmin'. He's also the owner of the media outlet Active Chucks, where he's interviewed major LA players like Suge Knight, as well as our main men Robert Ross and Money Mark Stevens.
So Deuce Sims got an interview with Mark Stevens and with Robert Ross. All right, this gonna be like a few. We gonna have to keep going and going and going with this. Ain't gonna be one video. I see. Let's keep going though.
Stutterbox is the nexus to this whole investigation.
In late 2007, Ross formed a relationship with his neighbor Ray J and was able to bring him onto Shaq and Mark Stevens' label with the help of Death Row affiliate Cash Jones, aka
Cash McElroy Jones. Man.
Death Row affiliate, but you see him in the picture with Suge, but the OG say he wasn't around in the beginning. He wasn't around when stuff was lit, when the money was flowing, when things was going. He came on the asset.
Wack, what's going on?
Yeah, Wack 100. That'll be important later. During the initial negotiations, Robert Ross and Mark Stevens agreed that Ross would make a percentage of royalties based off of whatever music that Ray J and the label put out together. But when they met in New York a few weeks later to finalize the deal, Mark Stevens balked. He gave Ross a $20,000 finder's fee and refused to pay him any royalties.
Now, mind you, Robert Ross is a real fancy, flashy dude. He's driving around Los Angeles at this point in Rolls Royces and Phantoms. He's really heavily and wealthy man. I think he had did a fraud allegedly and acquired about $7-8 million in a fraud scam that he had going on. So he's a street millionaire.
So naturally, Stutterbox wasn't going for it. And neither was Ray J, actually. He refused to sign the deal until Stutterbox got his pay. But
So Stutterbox had that bag. And Ray J went with him to New York to get this deal for Koch. But Ray J was going to sign the Koch and Stutterbox was going to get a certain percentage of it, but they only gave him $20,000. He wasn't feeling that.
the facilitator in New York, Koch Records, were going to nix the deal if he didn't sign soon. So Stutterbox tells Ray J sign the deal and
I get my money out of these guys, how I get my money out of them.
the project ended up being a commercial success, topping the charts of Billboard Hip Hop and R&B. The main single was Sexy Can I, which actually had Shaq in the background of the music video.
Is it true that Shaq invested in your music career?
Yeah. He gave us, I think, 1.5 million for
Wack claims that album is his, Sexy Can I. Wack claimed that album.
Sexy Can I.
Damn, man. It's crazy how all these people are intertwined in this story, like, and a lot of this like got to do with like Wack and Ray J, Shaq, the main streets. We seen a picture of Suge Knight. This apparently there's some type of Death Row Pac investigation or Biggie investigation connection to this as well.
Wow. Money Mark, Wack 100. We had another partner, and then Shaq, and we recouped the number back for Shaq. And I don't know, 5 months, 6 months.
For what reason would Shaq give them some bread other than some foul, shady business?
And everything else has been profitable since.
All the while, Stutterbox was still trying to get his money back. After weeks of constantly requesting money from Mark and Shaq, there was no budging from either guy. So
Robert Ross and Cash Jones come up with a conspiracy to blackmail and extort Shaquille O'Neal and Mark Stevens for the money that Robert Ross felt he was owed for putting together the Ray J deal.
Now hold on.
It was road dogs like that, huh? Wow.
I know that sounds crazy, but hear it out. So Shaq and Stutterbox are good friends at this point, right? Stutterbox even introduced him to other members of the Main Street Crips, including the leader Liddell Rawls, aka Del Dog, remember that, and Kevin Haran, who went by the name of Lil Shaq. Sound familiar?
Dog and Box got my back, man. Main Street, Lil Shaq, man.
So not only does Shaq rep the Main Street set, but the other people that he mentioned are literally his family. Mark and Kenny,
Cousin Kenny is my cat, man.
are his blood relatives, first cousins. And Corey Guns, this is his godson. But who gets the screen time? Not Kenny or Corey, but Stutterbox.
But him and Shaq was tight, and Shaquille O'Neal, prior to the deal, hung out with him, partied with him, even went to his house where Robert Ross leaves. Shaquille O'Neal had invited his female friend there, had sex with her there, and it was security cam footage when Robert Ross came home where he sees, oh man, he boom boom brought on my couch.
Damn.
If we don't know one thing about the history of Wack 100,
extortion,
there's always a videotape or a recording within the story, regardless if he has the videotape or not. Regardless if he has the footage or not, there's always a tape or recording or something. With the shit with Jay Prince and Larry Hoover, the shit with Kanye West, the shit with Ray J,
Nipsey.
This right here, like it's always a Nipsey Hussle. It's always a videotape or something behind the scenes lurking. And in this particular situation, it looks like there's about to be some type of extortion going on.
That's snake stuff. Videotapes, snaky business.
I'm saying, shoved his hands all in her ass and all of this stuff.
So yeah, Stutterbox, Robert Ross, came home to a security cam footage and saw Shaq. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So anyway, that's leverage. This happened around July 2007, before Shaquille divorced his wife, Shawnee. That's infidelity from a global superstar in the 2000s. TMZ would literally be slobbering. TMZ was going to slobber all over that. So through Cass Jones, Wack 100, Ross claimed to have recorded and saved the footage and insinuated that he could sell it to TMZ and make a lot of money. Additionally, get this.
Now, Robert Ross, another story plot twist, seeing that Shaquille O'Neal and Shawnee O'Neal were having a rocky relationship. As the story goes, he allegedly played into be a counselor and it is rumored began to have sex with Shawnee O'Neal. I don't know if that's true or not. Like I said, Robert Ross lies about a lot, but it's been consistent. Even a lot of the police officers in their reports were citing that this allegation might have possibly been true. Shaquille O'Neal hired a private investigator to follow his ex-wife. She follows his ex-wife and brings back footage of Robert Ross and Shawnee O'Neal having brunch together out in, they met halfway and met in Texas or somewhere down south back east.
During this time, apparently Robert Ross told Shawnee O'Neal about the sex tape and even offered to sell it to her. She also said she didn't believe there was a sex tape because he was a liar and he never slept with her.
Mm.
So anyways, regardless of all of what happened previously, I think we can all agree here that Robert Ross is moving hella shiesty. I mean, he did say he's going to get it back his way. I mean, he's a street millionaire. What do you expect? But here's where he messed up. He messed with Shaq Diesel. Hey, no, guys. One thing Shaq didn't play about back then was leaks. During Kobe Bryant's deposition in his 2004 Colorado case, he name-dropped Shaq to the people who were interviewing him, claiming that Shaq would not pay his woman to say anything and that he's already paid up to $1 million for stuff like this. Now, listen, I'm not going to choose a side for you guys, but the alleged victim, 3 days before she charged Kobe, bragged about being with him to 5 people. She'd apparently, at least from Kobe's point of view, to cover his tracks. Now here goes one of his business partners, who, by the way, had a track of criminal activity, and Shaq was claiming to want to reform him, but he'd also been dropping Shaq's name to police officers. So this is the guy who's trying to throw all that now down the drain. Shaq wasn't going. Enter Del Dog, the leader of the Main Street Mafia Crips, and one of the most famous men of South Central LA.
You had to hear about Del Dog. He was like God.
Christ the Street Apostle. Del Dog was the founder of 4 Life Records and the 4 Life Mafia Car Club, the latter of which became the predecessor for an entire car subculture in Japan. He was also tight with Steve Harvey and Ice Cube, both of whom starred in a documentary funded by Shaquille O'Neal. Seen as nearly a biblical figure in his hood, he organized toy and food drives every Thanksgiving, Christmas, and summer.
Del Dog was a big homie like Big U, huh?
With Shaq even pulling up sometimes. Additionally, he was a devout follower of Christ in his later years, of which he did his best to spread the good word around his hood. Like one of his members said,
"We was cripping for the street, now we're cripping for Christ."
But like every person in power, there are 2 sides to the coin.
He's like a legend in Los Angeles. Some people even call him the king of Los Angeles. If you listen to most people, he was like a ghetto Robin Hood, right? Necessary evils.
Necessary evils.
Lord, I cannot kill all these niggas hating on me, man. That's what I said to God. I said, I cannot kill all these niggas that's hating, man.
2 weeks later, Robert Ross, Stutterbox, was at the Pink Dot in West Hollywood when he encountered some of his old partners from the Main Street Crips. They blocked his car from leaving and told him that Dog wanted to see him. They forced him at gunpoint to drive his Rolls Royce back to South Central LA, where they dropped him off in front of a member's house, where Liddell Rawls, Del Dog, was waiting. Per Ross's account, Dog and some other guys started jumping him, pistol whipping and all of this stuff for about an hour. They then took him to a studio in the back of the house, where they beat him some more, took his diamond necklace, his diamond earrings, Rolex watch, and $15,000 in cash. while saying Mark and Shaq know who the real boss is now. Del Dog then demanded the tape and $100,000, to which Stutterbox replied his mom and sister needed to see him soon or else they would get suspicious. But he'd be able to get $60K and the tape in just a few hours. Del Dog then handed him his keys for his house and his car and let him out. Now, this is where our story gets even juicier. Robert Ross.
So what happened? Wack ain't get caught up in none of that. He shook it. Del Dog was left by himself in that situation.
Up to this point, had been working with the police.
He was working with Detective Darren Dupree and Greg Caden, which was a joint task force. They were both LAPD officers, primarily focused on the Tupac and Biggie murder investigation.
This shit is like way crazy.
Whoa, hold on, huh? Wait, why? Why? Well,
Robert Ross Stutterbox was also a suspect in the unaliving of Biggie Smalls, the notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace. Well, they had informants saying that the police did it and the hitman name was Amir Muhammad. Well, Stutterbox went by the alias. Robert Ross went by the alias.
And to top it all off,
the Main Street Crips are already under federal investigation. I'm talking about home invasions, drug dealers. The FBI, ATF, DEA already has federal wiretaps going on.
Which is why this crime was able to be so fleshed out in the first place. They'd already had wiretaps placed on the Main Street Crips. Man. Listen, we talking about Biggie and Tupac on an
I got the transcripts of some of the wiretaps.
NBA channel. Bro, like and subscribe, man. Who's really doing this? Back to box.
He leaves, jumps in his Rolls Royce. He calls his handler, Darren Dupree, and Darren Dupree tells him to walk and report the kidnapping and robbery at the local police station, which he did.
Now, Robert Ross's informant situation and motives are still murky, but what is known is that instead of going home and receiving the tape and the $60,000, he went to the LAPD 77th Division Station.
The most popular police station in the history of California gang talk. The 77th Street Division.
Eating and bloody.
Well, J Hood said his pops ain't in the streets. He was a businessman. Shit, they make excuses for Gucci, man.
And told the officers about what had just happened and implicated Liddell Rawls, Shaquille O'Neal, and Mark Stevens. Now, was there any evidence other than hearsay to prove that Shaq and Mark Stevens put a hit out on Robert Ross? No, not really. But remember the wiretaps. The LAPD found that around the time that Robert Ross was kidnapped, a flurry of calls was exchanged between Mark Stevens and Liddell Rawls. Now, I just finished up The Wire season 1. And bro, when I read that, I said, bro, Funny Mark called Del Dog to handle Stutterbox. Something Greg Kading, the officer that worked with Stutterbox and the handler of the Tupac and Biggie case, also corroborated.
Shaq's like, man, this clown's trying to extort money from me, blah, blah, blah. He tells Mark. Well, Mark reaches out to Del Dog and says, man, you gotta swear your guy away. Can you deal with Stutterbox? Tell him to knock this shit off. So Del Dog and the Main Street Crips go and they discipline and threaten Stutterbox.
But Ross didn't press charges right away. Sometime after the kidnapping, he was incarcerated again, which led to a delay for almost 3 years. Then, in the summer of 2011, he officially filed a civil complaint accusing Shaq, Mark Stevens, Del Dog, and 7 other Main Street Crip members of kidnapping, assault and battery, and robbery. From there, the case was picked up from all the major news outlets, with bombastic headlines like Shaq Attack and the like. But then, after the preliminary hearing, the case was inexplicably dropped. Why? Well, apparently, Robert Ross perjured himself in court. He lied on the stand. Wack 100, his former partner, and in on that first Ray J deal, claims to know why.
To help a certain individual out, I called my attorney, had the attorney put Greg Canes and Mark Stevens together. They put that together to ask Box on stand. If you go pull the paperwork, have you ever been a confidential informant to work for the LAPD, FBI as a known snitch?
He put, hold on, I gotta back that up. Wack said he put his lawyer together with somebody to make them ask him the question, had he ever, hold on.
His former partner, and in on that first Ray J deal, claims to know why.
To help a certain individual out, I called my attorney, had
to help a certain individual out. He ain't say no name, but he said to help a certain individual out, he called his attorney.
The attorney put Greg Canes and Mark Stevens together. They put that together to ask Box on stand, you go pull the paperwork. Have you ever been a confidential informant to work for the LAPD, the FBI as a known snitch? He lied on the oath and said no. Greg Caden takes a stance, provides a document that this dude is in fact one of our informants, this, that. At that point, the judge looks at it. He perjured himself. Therefore, any allegations or any claims he's bringing on anybody is null and void. They drop the charges on these 7 Crips and let them go. So in a sense, this power rule freed the Crips.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
hold on. I'm trying to understand what the hell just happened. So if Greg Cadence was partners with the handler and they was investigating Stutterbox and the whole, I mean, he was working for them, giving them information, and I'm confused.
So in a sense, this Paru freed the Crip. That's what happened. How you confused about that? Wack freed him. He ain't got nothing to do with none of that. Okay, well, let's keep it. This shit is funny as hell, man. What's going on right before your eyes? Hold up. That's not the one. Jay Hood is definitely going to regret this, man. He's going to regret it. Wack 100 and your pops hate each other. So stick with Pop Dukes because they both in the same boat. Anyway, man, that was another one from your boy Bush. Putting things together. And it don't matter the weather, we still going to be right here for y'all. Knicks going to win the championship, so get ready. I got a band on it. Salute to Alonzo and Scott. I mean, Dominican Mayweather, the homie. You feel me? Salute to Ellen Wood Studios TV, the homie Ted, man. Left Siders. You know what I mean? May Sloke, of course. And we'll be back at it. When we back at it, tap in. We out of here, yo.
Laying on the rug. I got new clothes, laying in the mud.